FPL Game Week 2 Team Selection. What is up everyone, how's it going? Hope we're keeping well and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Game Week 1 was a near perfect game week for the team with 8 out of my 11 players all returning, so let's keep this momentum going ahead of Game Week 2. In today's video I'm going to show you how I fared out in Game Week 1 and we're also be looking at my transfer plans and team selection ahead of Game Week 2. We've lots to discuss, let's get into the video. Before we get into today's video, quick reminder as always to drop the video a like and let's hit the like goal of 80 likes on this video, so head on down there, give the video a like, and if you are watching this and you're not subscribed, or if this is your first time coming across my channel, first off, welcome to the channel, but head on down there, click subscribe. We managed to pass 6.5k subs on the deadline stream last weekend, so massive thank you for that, and the road to 10k subs is on and hopefully we can get there this season. If you can hear it in my voice also, I'm still recovering from Electric Picnic, which is a festival I was at in Ireland last weekend. First off, massive thank you to everyone that came up to me at the festival asking for pictures, chatting about FPL. It's unbelievable to see, and it's great to see that the work being put into this channel is very much appreciated by you all. And secondly, massive thank you to Glenn, who's a follower and subscriber of the channel. He let me into his apartment last weekend to sort out the deadline stream. If you follow me on Twitter, you would have saw my struggles trying to sort out the deadline stream. I left the festival Friday evening with a bag packed with 2 laptops on my back, a desktop and a light. Headed off down a country road, took me half an hour to get into Stradbally, got to Glenn's house, let myself in, sorted out the deadline stream, and then headed back to the festival where I was able to enjoy it for the weekend. So once again, massive thank you to Glenn. He's one of the big reasons why I managed to hit 6.5k subs, and hopefully, as I said, we're on the road to 10k subs now. Right then, with that out of the way, let's have a quick look back at our Game Week 1 review. I scored 70 points for the game week, 8 out of my 11 players all returning, so near perfect start to the season, but a great start to the season all the same. We'll start off with the early kickoff, Liverpool against Ipswich. I had a hungover head Saturday morning at Electric Picnic, and Mo Salah made my hangover a lot worse when he got a goal and an assist, especially after I took him out late on my deadline stream late Saturday afternoon. At least Jota got his goal and Trent got his assist, but it could have been a lot more as Jota missed from a couple of yards out from what would have been a Trent Alexander-Arnold assist. Trent easily could have had 3 assists in that game, but it's great to see him getting in those positions, and he's definitely going to have a lot of attacking returns over the next couple of weeks. So with no Mo Salah in that early kickoff, my rank took a massive hit, and going into the 3 o'clock games, I badly needed a Bukayo Saka return after I took out Mo Salah late on in my deadline stream on Saturday, brought in Jota with the news he was going to start, and then with the funds available, I was able to go for Bukayo Saka. Thankfully, Saka came away with a goal and an assist in that Wolves game for a 12-point return, and I was definitely glad to see Gabriel get his clean sheet, so there's some good returns from the Arsenal boys there. On to the Newcastle game then. Going into that Newcastle against Southampton game, I had Alexander Isak captain and Lewis Hall in defence. Wasn't great viewing half an hour in when Newcastle went down to 10 men, so I wasn't expecting too much returns from the Magpies. Thankfully, Isak came away with an assist for Newcastle's only goal, so considering Newcastle were down to 10 men, I think we can consider ourselves very fortunate to get a captaincy return from Isak, and also then Hall on the fence. Somehow Newcastle held on and Hall came away with a clean sheet, a 5-point return from him. I was definitely glad to see the 2 boys returning there, all things considering, when they were down to 10 men. Chris Wood finished off Saturday's games in style as he came away with a goal and all 3 bonus points to come away with a massive 9-point return. If you watch my last videos, I spoke a lot about Chris Wood and I said I fancy Nottingham Forest's first 3 fixtures, and hopefully he can keep his place in the team, as it looks like Eddie Nketiah is on the way to Nottingham Forest. I'm going to have to monitor that situation and hopefully he doesn't take any minutes away from Wood up until game week 3 at least anyhow, and then I can move Wood on when Forest's fixtures get a little bit more difficult. But great start off with Wood anyway, 9 points, and hopefully he can carry this on in game week 2 and come away with another return there. So after Saturday's games, I had 7 out of 7 players all returning, so it was the perfect start to game week 1. And then going into Sunday's games, I was hoping for a full house. It wasn't to be though, as Henderson conceded twice away to Brentford to only come away with 2 points, and Eze somehow blanked in that game also. He scored a perfectly good free kick. The referee blew the whistle before VAR could intervene, so that's why that goal wasn't counted, but he's probably rather unfortunate not to return over the course of that game. I'm not too pushed about getting him out of the team anyhow. I'm expecting him to return well over the next couple of weeks, especially with him being in Crystal Palace's talisman on set pieces, on penalties, so there will be plenty of returns coming for Eze, and hopefully it's sooner rather than later. On to the last game of Sunday, the last game for my own team. Obviously Spurs and Leicester played on Monday night, but Haaland and NKUNKU involved. Of course, Haaland came away with a goal and 2 bonus points, so 7-point return from the big man up top. And it was probably rather unfortunate, probably rather very disappointingly, the most disappointing bit of the game week, and NKUNKU coming off before 60 minutes. He played last night in the Europa League Conference qualifier also. He did score from the spot, but he was taken off before 60 minutes, so hopefully we won't be seeing a repetition of this. I will be keeping hold of him for now, but we'll chat about NKUNKU later on in the video. But that's how my team did fare out. 8 out of 11 players, as I said, all returning. Was a great start to the game week. 70 points for the game week. Ranked at 1.3 million overall now, so a great start to the season. Let me know how you fared out below in the comments. Who did well for you, who didn't do well for you. Let me know what you're thinking of for your transfer plans also ahead of the game week 2. But yeah, that's how we fared out. Let's move on now and start planning ahead for tomorrow's deadline. So looking at the clean sheet odds, ahead of game week 2, there's no surprise to see Man City top the charts with a 60% chance of keeping a clean sheet with that home fixture against Ipswich. So Vardy all owners. I've seen a lot of new Rico Lewis owners as well this week. They're going to be licking their lips at the chance of some good returns in that fixture. Albeit if Rico Lewis does start, I know Walker was left on the bench, so it's going to be interesting to see if he keeps his spot or Walker comes straight back into the team. On to Liverpool then, there in second with a 42% chance of keeping a clean sheet with that home fixture against Brentford. And then Spurs finish off the top 3 with a 40% chance of keeping a clean sheet with that home fixture against Everton. Looking at my own team, it's decent viewing with Henderson of Crystal Palace, Gabriel of Arsenal and Trent Alexander-Arnold of Liverpool all rank in the top 8 for the chances of a clean sheet this weekend. So fingers crossed we can see some clean sheets from my defence and maybe even a cheeky attacking return from Trent, Gabriel, or maybe even Lewis Hall, who finishes outside of the top 8. Let's see how we get on. So looking at the predicted points for game week 2, rather surprisingly, or maybe not rather surprisingly, Mo Salah tops the charts with a predicted point score of 9.2 points with that home fixture against Brentford. Haaland is a close second. I would have thought Haaland would have been ranked first with that home fixture against Ipswich, the newly promoted side, and especially with it being a fixture at home for City, I'm expecting Haaland to run riot, but he's got a predicted point score of 8.3 points, and then Saka finishes off the top 3 with a predicted point score of 6.6 points. Looking at my own team, to be honest, it's actually very good viewing, as 4 out of the top 5 are all in my team. Haaland, Saka, Jota and Trent, so hopefully we can get some good returns in game week 2. Let's move on now and have a look at my transfer plans ahead of tomorrow's deadline. So looking at my transfer plans ahead of tomorrow's deadline, I'm fairly happy with how my team is set up after game week 1, but one slight question mark at one player who I'm concerned about in my team and who I'm going to keep a close eye on is Christopher NKUNKU. He was taken off before 60 minutes against City at the weekend, and then last night in the Europa Conference League qualifier he did score first off, but he was taken off before 60 minutes, so hopefully this isn't going to be a pattern over the next couple of weeks. So it's definitely something I'm going to have to keep a close eye on. I do predict he's going to start the Wolves game, especially after playing less than 60 against City and less than 60 minutes last night, so hopefully it just means he's getting up to full match fitness. But that's something I'm going to have to keep a close eye on. If he does blank against Wolves, there's every chance he could drop to 6.4 million before game week 3. But for now, I'm going to keep him in my team. Whether or not he's going to start this weekend, we'll chat about that later on, as we do have a strong 11-12 players this weekend. So I do have a benching dilemma. Maybe NKUNKU is going to be on the bench. Maybe he's going to start my team. But let's see how I'm shaping up ahead of tomorrow's deadline. So here's how my game week 2 team is currently shaping up ahead of tomorrow's deadline. We'll start off with Henderson in goals. He retains a spot from my game week 1 team. Crystal Palace up against West Ham at home. Fair enough, Henderson did concede twice away to Brentford last weekend, and Anderson has left Crystal Palace and he's on the way to Fulham. So Crystal Palace's defence may be slightly weaker this weekend, but they are considerably better in defence at home. So there's a chance of a Henderson return, but if he doesn't keep his clean sheet, hopefully he can come away with a save point or 2. On to my back 3, exact same back 3 from my game week 1 team. Lewis Hall up against Bournemouth, Trent up against Brentford, and Gabriel up against Aston Villa. Starting off with Trent, he was very unlucky not to come away with an attacking return last weekend. Only for Jota and Salah not to have their shooting boots on. Trent could have easily came away with 2 or 3 assists. Up against Brentford at home this weekend, so hopefully he can get their clean sheet. Liverpool are second favourite for a clean sheet, and then there's always a chance he can come away with an attacking return. On to Gabriel, then he got his clean sheet against Wolves. Hopefully he might come away with a clean sheet. I know they are away from home, so Aston Villa, I wouldn't be surprised if Aston Villa do get one, but with Gabriel's attacking threat from set pieces, there's always a chance he might come away with an attacking return. Lewis Hall completes my back 3. He did get his clean sheet against Newcastle with their 10 men did get their clean sheet against Southampton. Might be a good thing, it might be a bad thing considering that Lewis Hall was taken off just before 70 minutes last week. So hopefully Newcastle will have their clean sheet still in play come around the 60 minutes, and I'll be looking for an early substitution if it looks like Hall is going to be hauled off. Right then, that's my back 3 and my goalkeeper. Let's move on to my midfield. So moving on to my midfield, as you can see, I'm currently going for a 5-man midfield, so that means I'm currently looking at a change formation from Game Week 1. I was 3-4-3 in Game Week 1, and now I'm currently rocking a 3-5-2. Smith Rowe has come into the team. He was on my bench in Game Week 1, but he's up against Leicester at home this weekend. It was good to see Smith Rowe play over 60 minutes against Man United on Friday evening. Leicester looked very shaky in the fence against Spurs on Monday night. I'm not sure how Spurs didn't win that game. They had over 60 touches in the Leicester City box. So I think that all points towards Fulham scoring well or doing well this weekend. And hopefully Smith Rowe can get a few returns. He's had a decent pre-season. 2 goals in less than 1.5 games for Fulham. So hopefully Smith Rowe picks up a return and gets on the board. The man beside him then, Eze, which we spoke about him earlier on in the video. He's very unlucky not to return against Brentford last week. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get on the score sheet this weekend on set pieces, on penalties, up against West Ham at home. Hopefully Eze gets on the score sheet. I'm not too worried about him blanking last week. There's going to be returns coming from Eze over the next couple of weeks. Then on to NKUNKU then. I've definitely got a benching headache. For now, I'm starting on NKUNKU. He didn't play 60 minutes against City. Didn't play 60 minutes last night. Hopefully, as I said, that's not going to be a pattern over the next couple of weeks as he builds up his match fitness. He's in the team for now, up against Wolves, but that means Chris Wood is on my bench. Pretty harsh to be fair on Wood, seeing that he did get his goal last week. That might come down to the wire at the end of the deadline stream on Saturday. But for now, NKUNKU's in the team. I do predict him to start on Sunday against Wolves, and hopefully, if I do keep him in the team, hopefully he does return. Because if he doesn't return, if he comes off before 60 minutes again, he could well easily be 6.4 million, maybe 6.3 million at a push before the Game Week 3 deadline. Jota and Saka complete my 5-man midfield. Absolutely nothing to say about Jota and Saka. Both scored in Game Week 1. Hopefully they can score again in Game Week 2. That's the 5-man midfield. Let's move on to the 2 strikers. Alexander Isak and Erling Haaland complete my starting 11. Isak up against Bournemouth this weekend. He did get his assist even with Newcastle down to 10 men against Southampton last weekend. So hopefully Isak can get on the score sheet and get his campaign up and running. Then on to Erling Haaland, the man of the moment this week. I don't know how there's some non-owners going into this weekend. It's going to be a very, very long 90 minutes for the non-Haaland owners. He's a clear captaincy candidate this week. I'm expecting a monster haul from the big man up front. If he gets an early goal, I don't know what the non-Haaland owners are going to be. It could be a monster haul from Erling, and hopefully it is. That then brings us on to the next question. Should you be triple captain in Erling Haaland this week? If you want to do it, absolutely go for it. Probably the best fixture Haaland could have all season. Full pre-season behind him, no injury. Probably going to get 80 plus minutes easily against a poor Ipswich defence. So if you want to go for it, go for it. But me personally, I'm going to save it for a double game week later on the season. But that's just my preference. Don't let me deter you away from it if you are looking to triple captain him this week. That's how I'm lining up for Game Week 2. If you haven't made it to the end of the video, head on down there, give the video a like. And if you are watching this and you're not subscribed, head on down there, click subscribe. As I said earlier on, we are on the road to 10k subs. Hopefully we can get there this season. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, head on down there, click subscribe and support the channel. I'm heading to Birmingham now. By the time this video is out, I'll be in the sky flying to Birmingham. So I'm going to have to bring all my streaming stuff to Birmingham. Get a deadline stream done Saturday morning in the hotel. I have to go to a work event on Saturday afternoon. But the deadline stream is priority. We're going to get that done and hopefully you will join me for that. Thanks for watching. Best of luck for the week. I'll see you in the next video.